When the calendar turned to 1981, the Cold War between the two superpowers on Earth was raging not only in the political and military arena, but also in the endless vacuum of space. One of the most daring and perhaps the most challenging fronts of this rivalry was the exploration of Venus, the mysterious and ruthless queen of the solar system. In a challenge to American programs focused on the red planet Mars, the Soviet Union turned its attention to Earth's other neighbor. The hell hiding behind those dense clouds of sulfuric acid? Venus. The representatives of this ambitious goal were twin sisters launched into deep space just 5 days apart. Venera 13 and Venera 14. Their mission was simple, yet difficult: to pierce the suffocating atmosphere of Venus, land on its surface, and whisper the secrets of this mysterious world to Earth. Understanding Venus is like envisioning hell. The surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, which can melt lead. Atmospheric pressure is 92 times that of the Earth's surface, equivalent to the crushing pressure at a depth of about 1 kilometer in the ocean. Under these conditions, even the words landing and working become almost meaningless. Soviet engineers were well aware of these incredible challenges. The landing modules of the Venera probes were designed like space tanks. Encased in a thick, spherical titanium armor, the delicate scientific instruments were protected from the unimaginable heat and pressure outside. It was a design that pushed the limits of engineering genius. Both probes plunged into Venus's dense atmosphere, the heat shields became incandescent, the parachutes deployed to slow the descent, and finally, the moment that would go down in history, they made a soft landing on the red-hot soil of Venus. Their design life was only around half an hour, but both Iron Birds exceeded expectations. Venera 13 survived for about 127 minutes, while Venera 14 survived for 57 minutes and managed to send data. And what did they not do in those precious minutes? With their special cameras, they took the first color panoramic images of the surface of Venus. These photos revealed a bleak and barren landscape in yellow-orange tones, covered with sharp-edged rocks. They didn't just look at it, they touched it. Powerful drill arms reached out and drilled into Venus's crust, taking samples of the dark, basalt-like soil just below the surface. These samples were transported to miniature laboratories inside the probe for chemical analysis, providing key insights into the geology of Venus. But the most fascinating and perhaps the least appreciated aspect of the Venera missions were the microphones they carried. Yes, you heard that right. Soviet scientists didn't just want to see and touch, they wanted to hear the sounds of another world. The primary purpose of these microphones was to record the sound of the wind in Venus's dense atmosphere to understand its speed and dynamics. The idea of recording the sound coming from the surface of another planet was straight out of a science fiction movie at the time. Unfortunately, due to the passage of time and perhaps data storage conditions, the sounds recorded by Venera 13 are difficult to access today. But the sound recording of Venera 14 is still available to us more than 40 years later. This is not just a series of electronic signals. This is a historic whisper from a scorched world millions of kilometers away. A moment that echoes through time and space. When you put on your headphones and focus on this recording, the first thing that greets you may be a familiar electronic sizzle, a white noise. It could be both the sound of the probe's own electronics and a reflection of cosmic background noise from deep space. But as you listen carefully behind this static curtain, you begin to distinguish other sounds. The sound quality is, of course, not comparable to today's high-resolution recordings. It is muffled, scratchy, and at times unclear. But that doesn't diminish its value. On the contrary, it enhances it. What you hear is unfiltered, raw, real sound from the surface of another world. It's an acoustic postcard recorded by a machine working in those hellish conditions right then and there. When these sound recordings and other atmospheric data were later analyzed, a surprising conclusion was reached. The average wind speed on the surface of Venus was quite low, only around 0.3 to 0.5 meters per second, about 1 to 2 kilometers per hour. In such a dense atmosphere, it was much calmer than expected. This suggested that erosion on the surface of Venus was not driven by wind as on Earth, but rather by chemical processes and perhaps volcanic activity. The scorching landscape was largely spared the fury of the wind. The achievements of Venera 13 and especially Venera 14, of which we have an audio recording, are among the most impressive space explorations in human history. This triumph of the Soviet Union not only pushed the limits of engineering, but also forever changed our basic knowledge of Venus. It not only sent us pictures of a distant world, it also gave us the sound of that world. When we closed our eyes and listened to that voice, it gave us the chance to imagine, if only for a moment, that we were standing 40 years ago, millions of kilometers away on the red-hot soil of Venus. It is an unforgettable testament to the incredible heights to which science, curiosity, and the desire to explore can take humanity. For more of this kind of information, don't forget to subscribe and like our channel, and let's meet in the comments.